Give me your thoughts on the pitfalls of AI in field service management.
So there are a couple of pitfalls. I would say, again, this is mostly from our experience, are the data and the expectations. And I think for us, one of the hardest things, it was harder than I probably anticipated, is to temper the expectations associated with not only just the outcome or the efficacy of it or the ramp, the time associated with it, but the level of effort required that a closed feedback kind of continuous improvement process requires. A lot of what we found, and again, I work in an industry that has lots of makes, lots of models, lots of products, lots of parts, right? It's very fragmented. And I work in a company that's used to kind of mobile products. This is a much different model. This is a much more fragmented model, and we get our data from a lot of disparate sources. And because of that, all of what I do is data dependent. And if you don't have clean data, even if we try to use fuzzy math and clean up the data, I did not expect the accuracy or the effectiveness of some of our solutions to fall off a cliff when you're trying to normalize for data. Even though I was aware of it, the need for clean data and to get consistent sort of data has been a grind for us. So if you don't go into this understanding that up front, then I think you're going to end up disappointed. And along with that is sort of the commitment to continuous improvement into closed feedback. And again, understand this is just an iterative sort of grind. If you think you're going to go in and you're going to predict 70% of your parts on day one, and you don't understand that it's going to take years, right? Months, years to get to 70%, and you have that commitment to being okay with 3% and 5%, the continuous improvement, then you're going to oversell your effectiveness, probably disappoint, and you run the risk, I think, of your enterprise or your clients or your customers abandoning what is promising emerging technology that will transform the industry. So I just think people get caught up in the sexiness of it and they miss the sort of commitment required from AI.
Right. There's an oversight required because,
Yep.
I'm going to back up first and tell you, I've been very vocal in the AI discussions I've had at ServicePower, and I wish I would have trademarked this phrase because I feel like part of it is we're going through what's going to be called the Great Data Cleanse. Without accurate data and that oversight I'm talking about, I am going to, I thought, should I share this story? I'm going to share a story real quick with you. It's an AI-based story, and it's about Amazon Fresh. Not sure if you read about them. They're closing down most of the Amazon Fresh technology where, you could walk in the store, cameras are watching you, and you're grabbing items, and you walk out of the store, and using AI, it knows how to bill you. They're shutting that down because what they finally came out and said was they were miscalculating, losing money, shrinkage because things are going out the store without being caught. And what they came out and came clean about was, well, we had 1,000 people in a warehouse watching those cameras to try and validate that what we're even doing was working. And it turns out it wasn't. So I think, we're at a place with AI now, or at least what that story highlights is you have to have an oversight of what you're still doing. Yep. We're not to the stage yet where you can just say, all right, I've implemented this. I've got my data feedback loop. Am I getting the results I expect? Is it accurate? Is it actually accurate? To your point, I can't come out of the gate and expect that I'm going to 70% of the time predict the part. So as that's happening, is it learning and getting better? And am I noticing like, hey, right now I'm only at X%. How can I improve the data to improve that percentage? So I think one last thing real quick that is a pitfall of AI, and especially in field service, because for some of these like algorithmic AI, we don't know how it can be exploited yet. I know in other areas of AI, specifically like generative AI, that can be exploited all over the place. So I think, again, that's part of that oversight process of we gotta have people who are mindful of these technologies that we're implementing, and are they giving us the result that we expect? Again, to your point, everyone can't just think, hey, we're not using AI. This is great. We're going to get this result. You really have to monitor in the beginning.
Yeah, that is one thing that I do. So at Assurant, we have a whole AI division now, just committed to What is the emerging sort of regulatory? Is it, I know we can talk about this later. Is it going to come? Yes, it will. What sort of oversight are we applying? What are we learning from one another? So it's something for us that we've implemented in the last year. And I kudos to Assurant for taking that sort of approach to it. But for me and my processes, to your point, oversight is key. So while I have sort of an AI process, and that's going to be our go-to going forward, usually what I have is a proof of concept or a simulation or a parallel sort of process that I run that is more analog, if you will, right? But has that human oversight. So nothing we do here doesn't have an alternative model that we can compare the outcomes and the results. And nothing that we do here doesn't come without that sort of human oversight. That is a must.
Yep.
You can't, yeah, I think the pitfall would be you just turn the keys over to AI and let it go. You are exposing yourself on many fronts, right? Fraud.
You're asking for it.
You're asking for it. Well, fraud,
Yep.
regulatory, who knows, right? Yeah.
Yep.